Hello. I think we're live. Let me know if you guys can hear me. It looks like we're live. It's counting 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. So I think we're live now. Let me know if you guys can hear me there, if the audio is okay. I'm still setting up. So this is going to be a bit more of a casual stream because I have no idea how this is going to go. This RTX 3080 thermal pad replacement, anything could happen. It could work, it could not. And if you're watching this later on, you're going to have to just scrub around and see what parts you're interested in and just go to those sections. I might leave some chapters if I think they're relevant later on, but yeah, this is just going to be a pretty casual stream where I just do the thermal pad placement live, and I guess I'll talk through it, but it's going to be pretty hard to keep it succinct and to the point. If you want a guide on how to do the thermal pad replacement, I do have one in my channel, so go and check my channel. I think the thumbnail is incredible improvement. So it was the RTX 3090 where I did the thermal pad replacement. I got minus 10 degrees, and there you have pretty much a whole guide on how to do the thermal pad replacement. But give me a second, because for me to do the live stream here at this location, which is basically my office for this now, I have to bring everything over here. So literally I brought a second computer here so we can test it later on, because I do want to test this, the performance of this, or the temperatures of this in a Windows machine, because then I can use HW info. I found that when I put it into my Linux mining rig, that doesn't actually show the memory temperatures. I don't know why. It shows the AMD memory temperatures, but not the NVIDIA one. So I guess I'll have to play around with it a little bit more, see if I can get the memory temperature out of that Hive OS. But it showed the AMD temperature and it didn't show the NVIDIA one. I'm still setting up. So yeah, you're gonna have to give me a minute while I do everything. I literally forgot my ruler to be able to cut the thermal pads. But luckily, I found another one here at this location. So that's kind of like what I'm talking about when I have no idea if everything will work out today. I might forget something that I left at my home. This could not work. Maybe like I'm short of thermal pads. Maybe some thermal pads break down. So I can't promise this thermal pad replacement is going to work today, but hopefully, I'm hoping that it's going to be fixed, because right now the card doesn't actually work well, and I'll explain that in a second. But basically today, the title of this video is RTX 3080 thermal pad replacement, which will be the bulk of this video. I expect that to probably go for an hour or so. And then I guess the big news of this week was the PSN and CBOM news, where Sony reversed their decision to put the PS3, or retire the PS3 and PSP stores, and sorry, PS3, Vita and PSP stores. So now they're going to bring the PS3 and Vita store back, but the PSP store is still going away, and I'm a little bit disappointed about that. So if we have time, we'll talk about that at the end of this thermal pad replacement. And of course, the entire week I was basically completely engaged in the Euro Super League talk, because I'm a big Premier League fan. I watch, my team is Everton, and that basically took up my whole week. So there wasn't so much tech talk this week, but that was okay because there wasn't that much news aside from the PSN news. But let me just set up first, and then we'll get going. Night Owls, how are you? How often do you replace the thermal pads? Just whenever you think the temperatures are getting worse, because by the time, as it starts to get worse, then you can feel like that, okay, there's no return for this card. So for example, the RTX 3080 that I had here, actually a better example is my RTX 3090. So when I first got that card, I was mining with it, and then the temperatures on that, after I undervolted and underclocked the card, it was about 82 degrees. And then after a couple of months, it was 86 degrees. So I knew there was no return for the thermal pads in that card. So that's why I decided to do it, because it was just going to get worse and worse. It was just going to go to 88, 90 degrees as it went on. So in terms of how often you need to replace thermal pads, I'd probably say maybe like once a year, because this is really the first time I've started mining. But I would say after a while, the thermal pads probably do worsen over time. They'll dry up. As you'll see, like for example, okay, these are the thermal pads that came out of this card. And so, oh yeah, so the story for this card, right, okay, is that on, I think about Sunday, I was just going to open up the card and then check out what the thermal pads were going to be like, just to make sure that the live stream today was going to be okay. And yeah, it was a big shock actually, because I actually bought 0.5 millimeter, 2 millimeter, and 3 millimeter thermal pads. So I was missing the 1 millimeter and 1.5, but I figured that I probably didn't need it. I expected it to be 2 mils inside here, and it's not. It's closer to 1 mil. So every card is different. So make sure to go and check other people's videos who have the same card as you, and check the thermal pad thickness. Otherwise, you're going to have to, you won't be able to use it, right? Because what happened was, I put this card back, and basically after that, because the thermal pads were kind of already broken anyway, there was no return for this card. There was no coming back from the pads that had kind of broken up already. So if you have a look at this, like, so these are the pads on the back. I'll get these out. And I saved them just so that we could talk about it on the stream. These are the pads on the back of the card that I took out already. Let's see if I can get that. So these are about 2 mils, and these went on the back of the card. So, and then between the heatsink and the memory modules, we had these dinky little crappy thermal pads. And I don't want to break them as I take them out, but you can see that that was the thermal pad. And yeah, to my surprise and my disappointment, after I opened the card, I wasn't able to fix it because I didn't have the thermal pads. So make sure you have the thermal pads with you, otherwise your card will be out of action for a while until you can get more thermal pads. For me, I have to get my thermal pads sent to me, so it's not like I can just walk down to the shop and get thermal pads from my local computer shop. It takes about 3 or 4 days before I can get them. So luckily, I got the thermal pads a couple of days ago. It was really quick, by the way. It was just a couple of days. Yeah, I'm not eating this, Arvin. But yes, it does kind of look like chewing gum, especially the 2 millimeter pads. But the pads that they put in are really bad quality that you can see they just break down after a while. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but even on the top here, it's breaking down already. And so the problem with the thermal pads when they break down is that they don't transfer the heat properly then. So it may just transfer in this little section where it's broken up, and then that section could be extra hot. So once they break down, then you're not going to get proper conductivity between the GPU and the memory to your heatsink. So that's why I think, in my opinion, you should change them, because it's not really that hard to do. The only problem, of course, is you run into things, you have to troubleshoot stuff yourself. And there really isn't like people that really can help you out. You really have to just resolve most situations by yourself, and you kind of have to think logically about, well, okay, like, you know, yeah, something is wrong here, now I have to fix it yourself. But yeah, so, yeah, I tried to save them as best as I could, and they're just terrible. And, you know, I don't think it's such a bad thing to use thinner thermal pads, because then the heat will actually transfer better to your heatsink. It's just that with thinner thermal pads, they're probably going to break down easier. So there's, I guess, a balance for the manufacturer, Palit in this case, for them to use thinner, better performance thermal pads, because there's less thermal pad for the heat to transfer through, or thicker thermal pads which last longer. Anyway, these are it's probably too bright now, but these are supposed to be green, and these were on the backplate, and then these were on the memory modules. Okay, so looks like crappy quality. Well, I mean, if they're broken, yeah, of course they're going to look really crappy, aren't they? So I think I pretty much told the story of the 3080. So I opened the card on Sunday. I tried to actually, I thought about replacing the thermal pads on Sunday anyway, because I had a second card. So I was going to do the second card. But now, when I saw that it was, I think it was about 1 mil, well, let me say again, at the time, it looked like these thermal pads here were 1 millimeter, and I didn't have the thermal pads. So I put the card back, and then I put it back into my system, hoping that it would be okay. But the temperatures just shot up to like 100 degrees. So previously it would have been, I guess, maybe like 80, 85 degrees. I don't really know, because this was in the mining rig for a while. And so it shot up to 100 and whatever. I think it was like 108. So I knew something was wrong with the card. And then I thought, okay, well, let me try it with 0.5 mil thermal pads. So I opened it up again and put thermal pads in the 0.5 mils, because that's all I had at the time. And the temperatures started increasing again. A little bit slower, but they started increasing again. So, and it went over the 80, 85, which was, I guess, my acceptable or tolerance range. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to try and get this card back down to, say, around 80, 85. I've got 1 mil pads now. I've got 1.5 mil pads, but I only have one pack of them because these were local. I bought these locally. So they came in a couple of days. I've also got some coming from China, and that's probably going to take a week to get here. So for now, if I put these in and it doesn't work and I destroy them, and they're $10 each, so it's not like they're cheap or anything. And as you can see, like, you know, $10 adds up after a while. But if that doesn't work, then I don't know, maybe something else is wrong with the card. I hope there isn't something else wrong with the card. I'm just hoping as soon as I put this 1 mil in, it's going to work. So this is I've already opened it up, and I don't know if I can try and, I don't have calipers, okay, so I kind of have to guess that it's roughly about the same thickness. Whoops. I mean, hey Ben, how you going? I think it's, this was the old pad. I think it's about 1 mil. I don't know where my old 0.5 mil is, but 0.5 is really thin. If I can find some 0.5 mil to show you. This is 3. Whoops. That's 3. You gotta hold on, I got stuff everywhere. I'm trying to find some 0.5 mil. Okay, is this 0.5 mil? Okay. Okay, so this right here is. So the one on the left is 0.5, this one here, and then the one in the middle here is 1 mil, and then this one I believe is 3 mil. But you can see that there really isn't that much of a difference between the 0.5 and the 1, and the 0.5 doesn't work on my card. So there's a very fine line between getting it right and getting it wrong. The tub, it's on the way. The tub and the bikini. We've got more urgent matters today, and you know, if I took this RTX 3080 into the tub, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It'll probably destroy the GPU. Okay, let me put all of this stuff away. And yeah, you see, like, you know, I already cut the pads and I haven't used them, which feels like a bit of a waste. I mean, if I can use it, I guess, on another card later down the track, but yeah. Oh, I think, sorry, I think this is 2 mil, because, well, I don't know anymore. Yeah, I think this is 2 mil, because I only bought 2 and 3, and then the 2 mil comes with this blue backing, and the 3 mil comes with clear backing on the, so this is 2 and this is 3. There's a big difference between even just the 2 and the 1. So hopefully it's just the thermal pads that's the problem at this stage. Oh my goodness. Benjamin, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you so much. They will go into more thermal pads. Okay, I've never done a live stream like this, so we're just going to have to take it slow so I don't screw up anything. All right, so we're going to take this apart now. And, you know, the thing is, even back at home, I don't really have that many tools. So there are lots of tools that I could use, like a good pair of tweezers. Like I've got these dwinky little tweezers that don't really work. And you can even see here, the fan wire is not really put back in properly, nicely. So at this moment, all I care about is really just getting this card to work again. So let's go, okay? So first we're gonna have to take off the backplate. So we've got these screws here. Yeah, Ben says thicker pads causes board warp. Okay, so I got 2 mil pads in the back here, and yeah, they do. Not on this one specifically, but I've definitely seen people's videos where the backplate is a little bit warped. So just buy some extra thermal pads, because it's just very inconvenient to take apart your card all the time. You want it to just work and stuff. So an extra $10 for like say the 2.5, 3 mil pads, I think it makes more sense in the long run. Like if you have to take apart your card and then you know a week later you're gonna have to take apart your card again. It's just annoying. Yeah, and I'm going very slowly because I have a lot of things to manage, like the stream, the chat, people talking. So maybe grab a drink and chill out, I guess. Next week we'll go back to a news stream. I don't have anything planned for next week. Don't have any other cards that I want to replace thermal pads. So, I mean, I've taken the card apart twice now. I'll open it up and I kind of know where all the screws are. But the first time you do it, I guess, you got to make sure that you have all of the screws off on like one side. Like you got to get all the screws off here. Obviously these ones in here are for the PCB, so you don't have to take that off just yet. But obviously if you have a different card, it's going to be different. Did I say that this was a Palit Gaming Pro? This is a Palit RTX 3080 Gaming Pro. So every card's going to be different with different screws and everything. The FE I found looks the hardest. This generation's Ampere one isn't too bad given Gamers Nexus's teardown. The Turing one was terrible. Like they literally hid stuff. They were gluing panels around and then you had to unglue the panels. So super annoying to get into. They did it on purpose, of course, because they didn't want anyone to get into their card. I might have to take this off camera, but I'm just undoing the screws here. On I don't know what you call this, like the back of the card. So there's some screws here that you need to take out because this is connected to the PCB. Whoops. So as long as I can get this around 80, 85 degrees, I'm good. Like I've given up trying to get it like, you know, down below 80. I just want this card working. Sorry, I have to do it like onto the side here. I got the camera like right next to me, up against me. But we'll get back to put it back in a second. Okay, so those were the hardest screws to get out because, whoopsies. Okay, so that should just come off. Okay, and then, so all the screws are off on the black back plate. Let me take this off. So there's indentations there, which means that we're getting some, I guess, connection to the PCB on the back there. So that should be good for thermal conductivity. But yeah, this one I've already replaced the thermal pad, so I think this one is good because this one only required the 2mm thermal pads. So this was the original thermal pads that I got here. So again, I don't have calipers, so I literally have to just try and get that in focus. I'm kind of just trying to match the thickness of it. I think that's okay. I mean, if that's the problem, then we have a bigger problem. Then we have a bigger problem on our hands. Okay, so this is for the GPU. So once you take this off, then you can open up the heatsink to the PCB and get into the memory modules. The stream looks like I'm actually know what I'm doing, and I don't. I mean, I'm not an electrician, not a software guy or hardware guy. Just a fan trying to fix his GPU. Oh, bugger. So I hope everyone's been okay this week. All right, so I want to just say, basically on every card, you really have to be careful with these fan headers and fan cables. They're the biggest nuisance, and on this card, I'm not able to take it off the header. I have no idea why, but I was pulling and pulling for like about 5 minutes, couldn't get them off. So I left them as they were. So the heatsink, I'm not able to separate it from the PCB. So I literally have to just have it connected while I do this mod, just to let you guys know. Okay, so there's no real good way to pull this. Okay. So didn't take much force because I pulled it apart a couple of times already. So, and then I have to be careful here with the cables. I don't want to do too much on that side. And then there's one more cable down in here that we have to take off. That one I can get off. And you know, PCBs, you got to be careful because like this is just plastic. I mean, it's easy to break off, so you've got to be real careful. Like, okay. Just adjusting the cables at the back here so that they don't, oh, okay, here we go. So this cable here is too short. All of these cables are too short. Super annoying. But this cable we have to take off because otherwise we can't sit this properly. Okay, soft. Ben, Jim RPG, if I could figure it out, I'm confident you can. I consider electrical engineering stuff to be magic. Just don't let the magic smoke escape. Well, that's the thing, like, because I don't know anything about hardware and electrical or software, anything. So I'm just following other people's videos. And it seems like those steps are reasonably safe or easy to do. But like once you go outside of those steps, it's like, okay, well, I don't really know how to fix it beyond what people are showing me in videos, you know what I mean? So yeah, I can get into here and, you know, take off some screws and replace the thermal pads like they show me. But beyond that, like if I put it back together and then it's 100 degrees again, well, I don't know what to do. So yeah, I guess more troubleshooting after that, but hopefully we don't have to get to that stage. Okay, so they're the 0.5 mil thermal pads that I'm going to save for another time. Oh, and then one thing I do want to say is that normally you should do the testing, like you should do a test of what the temperatures are going to be on your card before you open it up. And so I got a little bit confident, I guess. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to open this up and then put it back together and it'll be fine. But I think if you open it up, there is a problem where when you put it back together again, the pads can get broken up so that the temperatures are no longer the same. So anytime before you open it up, you should do a test. Because now I actually don't know what the temperature was exactly before I took it apart, before I took the card apart, which is a bit of a problem because hopefully I'm down to around 80 degrees after I do this mod. If it's around 80, then that would probably mean I fixed it. If it's like 100, it means I haven't. Arvin, the GPU temp is, okay, so as I was mining, this card was around 55 to about 60 degrees, depending on the ambient temperature in the room. Ambient is like about 30 degrees. So that was the mining temperature. And I don't know what the memory temperature was before. I do remember like a couple of months ago when I had it in my system that the VRAM temperature at the time was about around 82 degrees after undervolting and stuff. So that's all the information I've got on what it was before. And obviously I should have tested it before, but before I opened the card. But I thought I would just be able to put it back. So that was my mistake. So the other thing is you should just double check the size of the packet of thermal pads you're going to buy. So because this one is just one-sided, so I only bought one pack, which is about, I think it's about this size. So that's enough for one side here for a 3080. And if you're going to do two sides, you need two packs, or about 1.5 packs if you want to save, you know, optimize the amount of the pad usage. Now, and oh yeah, so these headers, super annoying. I couldn't get them off for the life of me, so I'm not going to try again. I've tried twice already, like for at least 5 minutes. I think you probably need some pliers to get it off. And even then, I mean, what if there's some sort of like locking mechanism, they don't want you to pull it off, so it won't come off easily, so I'm not going to take it off. This one, I don't know what this thing is, some sort of like power controller, but I replaced this with 0.5, I'm going to replace this with 1 mil. And as you can see, we've got some other pads along here. So it's up to you whether you want to fix them. For me, I think I just want to do one thing at a time. So work on these memory modules first. If that works, good. I'm going to leave everything as it is. If it doesn't, maybe I'll consider changing these out. But for the 3090, I didn't have to change these thermal pads and got good results. So I just left those pads as it is. I think you can do a visual inspection just to see if they're good or not. And so these look okay to me, so I'm going to put it back as it is. Hopefully, once you take it apart, like I'm not sure whether there's a pressure that releases off these pads, which means that it changes internally. Like, I don't know. So hopefully there isn't anything bad that happens like that. But I think a lot of people just change the thermal pads on the memory modules. I think these things like capacitors, maybe like they wouldn't be too hard to fix if you got, say, like an electrician who is good at that sort of thing. They could just pull it off and put it back. I know that like with, say, like the VRAM modules, people who fix or change the VRAM modules, it doesn't work again. The card doesn't work again, and you have to, I guess, fiddle around with like the BIOS or whatever to run different RAM than what this card has. So the most important thing is the GPU and the VRAM here. Other things like these capacitors, you could probably change them if worst comes to worst. Okay, so I'm going to wipe down the thermal paste, and I've only got tissue, but I recommend that nobody use tissue. I recommend people use cloths instead if you have them, because the tissue can just catch onto something. So there are lots of little, I don't know what they are. Maybe they're capacitors or something inside there. But they can catch, the tissue can catch, and then you don't want that to happen. But I don't have anything else with me right now. The only thing I got is tissue. So tissue is going to have to do. Hello, sleeping elephant. You run your 3090s at around 100 degrees. Do you run those in mining? I take it then. Shingo, do you think Microsoft and Nintendo are going to do a collaboration? Well, I mean, it'll be something small, right? Like Nintendo are always fine with like doing something small. Like say they did a Lego thing. They have those Super Mario Lego things. So Nintendo is happy to work with other companies, but they're going to keep a lot of their franchises close. Like they're not going to put Mario onto Microsoft's system because they want to have their own ecosystem. That's their model. We haven't seen that change yet, so I don't believe it's going to change. So until they do, then I will say, okay, maybe they will put games on other platforms. And they tried, they tried to put some mobile games on mobiles, like that Mario Kart game on smartphones. So I think you're not going to see Mario or any of those mainstream popular games that they would normally put out on a Switch. That's not going to happen. They might do something small with Microsoft. What about Game Pass on Switch possibly? Gosh, that's a really good question. What about Game Pass on Switch? I think they wouldn't because they care about user playtime. And they want people on Switch. but it's just my opinion. So it's like, I mean, I don't know any more than you do. That's just what I think. I mean, if I was running Nintendo, given their business model, I don't think they would put Game Pass. So let me know what you think, Shingo. Let me know if you think they're going to put Game Pass on Switch, because if I was the CEO of Nintendo, I probably wouldn't want a competitor's main business on my system. Shingo says, I feel like it would be a good business decision for them. Yeah, certainly it will bring in the money, for sure. I think they would watch their play times or watch time very carefully. The other thing, like even with something like YouTube, YouTube cares about watch time because it keeps people watching and using watching the ads. So for them, they're super big on that sort of thing. I'm going to very carefully get rid of this thermal paste around the edge. But yeah, really good question. I haven't really given that much thought to it. I did see the rumor that Microsoft and Nintendo were going to do something. But again, that's just like it's like somebody's opinion basically online. Somebody to say, oh look, Microsoft, Nintendo, what do you think? And I think people ran away with it. Maybe like it was like a Michael Pachter or something that said something like that, and then people were like, oh look, I heard something too. Yeah, just asking because I just ordered a Switch. I have a PS4, getting a PS5 as soon as I can. So I want my Switch as a link to the Xbox. So do you have an Xbox Series X then, Shingo? So I'm literally telling my viewers not to do what I'm doing right now, which is to use tissue around the GPU. If you have a cloth, please use the cloth. I just don't, unless I want to use my t-shirt. I don't want to use my t-shirt. It's a funny thing, like my t-shirt is like what, 30 bucks, and the GPU is like 1,500. I mean, I get it. People make dumb decisions all the time. So, I mean, I guess I'm just like everybody else. So I don't care too much about the thermal paste around, but I do like to clean it up so it doesn't like just dry over time. I think that's good enough. It's too hard right now because I got the camera right there and I can't spin the Jeep. I mean, yeah, it's just, everything's just annoying at the moment. Okay. Look, I think it's okay. So this is isopropyl alcohol. So just give it a final wipe down. I think this is more if you have dried up paste and then it's going to clean it up a little bit, but no harm in just giving it a bit of a wipe, clean it up a little bit. Hopefully this is the last time I have to open this card up. So there you go, GA102 200, KDA1 3080. There was this news, I think that there was 3090s and they didn't have this. They had like GA102 250 or something like that, which is pretty funny. So that one was the one reserved for the 3080 Ti, which doesn't have the same amount of CUDA cores as the 3090. It has like, so the 3090 has like 10,500. And then the 3080 was going to have 10,250, so it was like 250 less. So I don't know if maybe, I don't think they would have had less CUDA cores. But really, how would anyone know? Like, how would you know it has 250 CUDA cores less? There isn't a program that tells you, yep, 1 liter. That I didn't want to buy like, 100 mil of it because it was almost the same price. So how would anybody know that it has 250 CUDA cores less? So I don't know if they were trying to get away with that. Still a little bit dirty, but what the hell? I guess that will have to do. Okay, so this is the 1 mil. So we're going to put that in. We may have to do it with 1.5. I think it's close. I think it's close enough. And actually the camera is kind of useful if I can get it into focus. You can kind of tell better than the naked eye. Yeah, but I think it's like, if I put both of them between my thumbs, I can kind of feel that they're more or less the same. And I wouldn't mind it if the 1 mil was just a little bit thicker, honestly, given that the 0.5 was less than what I needed. I feel like I need to have something a little bit thicker now. Sleeping Elephant, can you link the GPU thermal paste you use later? Okay, so I don't know where you're from, but I got mine from a shop here in Malaysia called Shopee, but I will link the Amazon one, I guess. I don't know where you're from. But I'll show you the thermal paste in a second. So I'm putting that between my thumb, and the 1 mil is definitely thicker than, so I'm going to go with the 1 mil. I use Arctic Thermal Compound MX4, Sleeping Elephant. Most of the thermal compounds are roughly the same anyways, so as long as you get a name brand like Thermal Grizzly or Arctic, then you should be pretty safe. They're within like 1 to 2 degrees when we're talking about GPU core temperatures around like 50 degrees. So most of them all lie within like 50, 51, 52, for example. Vincent, how are you going? LOL, Jim, I'm changing thermal pad for your new Vision 3080. This is why it's unbelievable. So people are paying $1,000 for these GPUs and they have to change their own thermal pads. And there is a warranty sticker on these things where they tell you not to open it up. So the whole thing is really dumb. I've got thermal pads everywhere now. All right, so I'm gonna have to cut this and you guys just gonna have to entertain yourselves for a while. Okay. Normally I would have a pen, but I don't have a pen, so yeah. So it's a bit problematic. Super annoying to do it without a pen. Shit. Fucked it up. I sliced a little bit off there, so that's annoying, but hopefully I can save that somehow later on. Oh, shit. Ah, damn it. Oh. So I hope that's enough. We're working on millimeters here. What is up? Get some juice. No water cooling. No. Water cooling, I don't know how much that would cost me. Maybe another couple of $100. And so so this is going into a mining rig, so yeah, it's not getting water cooling. They have to keep costs down, otherwise it's not profitable. So I'm really hoping this fixes it, because I don't have another plan if it doesn't work. Get some juice. Mineral oil just coated in urethane conformal coating. I don't want to do that. And what's the issue? The issue is temperatures. The issue is so when I went to fix it the first time, I didn't have the pads with me, so I didn't have. I only had 0.5 mil pads and 2 and 3 millimeter. I didn't have 1 and 1.5 millimeter. So 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 I put 0.5 million and it didn't work, obviously. So so now I'm putting a 1 mil pad to see if that's okay. And so just to double check, this is 1.5 mil. This is 1, so this is thicker. Just to make sure I'm not putting the 1.5 mil in. What's the time? It's 11 already. I spent an hour doing one pad, so I'm gonna try and speed this up. And I know you guys busy, got stuff to do. I'm gonna try and do this faster, if I can get this thermal pad off. Ah, crap. Oh, I don't know why they make it so hard to get it off. Okay, here we go. I don't have any better way to do this. I don't know why it's not lying down exactly where I wanted to. I mean, obviously if I had proper tweezers, it could probably help a little bit more. Okay, all right. Get rid of this crap. Which model of 3080? This is the Palit RTX 3080 Gaming Pro. Okay, so I've got 2 memory modules left and we're good. Okay. I'm literally competing for the world's slowest thermal pad replacement competition right now. What is it with this? Get some juice palette. Is it a reference card? It's not a reference card. It's an AIB card. It's Palit. P-A-L-I-T. Get some juice. Good luck, man. But to be honest, you'll hit higher clocks under water cooling. It's pretty cheap once you get the block. Yeah, I'm not too worried about like higher clocks because I downclock the GPU anyway for mining. So with the 3080 and 3090, because they have much higher memory bandwidth, they can get better hash rates. So then it doesn't need the high clocks as much. So we downclock it to get better power efficiency, better efficiency. One more, and then we're good. We can get out of here. So I'm going to use the entire pad here because when Palit did their card, they put across these empty memory modules, and maybe you wouldn't really have to do that, but I'm gonna just follow what they did anyway. Actually, I need a tiny little square here. Palit is from Taiwan. Yeah. They have another brand, I've forgotten what they're called, but I think maybe you've heard of the other brand that they got. Oh shit. These aren't the greatest tweezers, but they're okay for a few things. Get some juice. Are you in Taiwan? No, I'm not in Taiwan. I'm in Malaysia. Don't put on the empty module, just waste your pad. Yeah, I know, but they did that, so I'm going to do the same. If, I mean, I don't think that much of a waste. So, yeah. But I understand, you know, your logic. I understand your logic perfectly. I'm sorry, Vincent, I'm going to put it on the empty memory module. Probably don't need to, but if I wasn't troubleshooting something right now, like I'm not even on the other memory module anyway, so my theory is kind of not correct. So I mean, you're 100% right. But let's see if I just replace it how replace it exactly the same as what Palit had, then we'll work backwards from there. All right, so thermal paste time. Vincent, yeah, I think that Palit is pretty nice. At least in the design of this card, it's pretty nice card. I don't know about the memory, the thermal pads though, but in general, like the card, I really like the card. Why do you think these AIB companies use cheap thermal pads? Because they can save a lot of money. So they don't make thermal pads, they would just be getting it, but they would get it in bulk. So they could save a little bit of money if they got it in bulk. I'm having problem opening this. And so the pad here cost me $10. So I would say maybe they could get it for $5 wholesale. Maybe. Maybe 4, 5. And the pads that they are using probably cost $1 in retail, which means they probably get those for say 40, 50 cents. So it's like a 10x for them. And then how many cards they have to make? Maybe they make 1 million cards, and that's almost like $400,000 or $500,000. So for them, they really want to cut corners everywhere. And you know, the thing is, like, people will say, oh, look, people are building it to the reference spec, which means it's perfectly fine. Well, sometimes reference is basically another term for the lowest spec that you can basically get. It doesn't mean that it's good. It just means that it's going to work for like 2 years or 3 years or however many years the warranty is going to expire in. So as somebody who works in civil engineering, construction, basically when everyone is building to like the bare minimums all the time. So that's the world we live in, the bare minimum. And you don't get anything less because all people care about is like once the warranty, they just want to make it past the warranty expiry date. That's all companies, businesses care about. They don't care about if, you know, in the past it was like, oh, you want your fridge to last 25 years. You want your furniture to last like 30 years. And now it's like, no. Everything has, it's not planned obsolescence. People say, you know, they're evil, they're planning for it. It's more a case of things just wearing out. I mean, they just use crap materials all the time. So I'm trying to get this thin because I don't want to use too much thermal paste. Normally on the PCs, oh sorry, CPUs, I will just put a blob in and then put the CPU on. But for, maybe just put a little bit more. For GPUs, I prefer to spread it. Probably too much now. I probably put too much. People say, well, spreading might cause some air bubbles. Maybe. I mean, we're talking about fractions here, so. But what spreading does get you is that you get to go to the corners. And so you're going to get better protection on your GPU. All right. Time to put it back together. So 11:08. And these fan headers are the most annoying. Okay, seriously. I may have to do some of this off camera because of the fan header problem. So I apologize if you can't see it. And now I'm holding the fan cable with like my fourth finger at the back here. Trying to get this fan cable. And then I have to put this in. I'm putting in the other cable that is out at the moment. While holding the other fan cables, and it's a real nuisance. Okay, I think I got it. And so I didn't take those cables out of the fan headers previously because they were impossible to take out. So we just want to line up the screw holes. Make sure those fan headers are okay, and get busted or anything. Even if they're poking out like that, it's fine. Like, better than them being squashed inside. Okay. The thing about this palette card is I can't actually look through and see if the memory modules are seated okay, which I can do with some other cards, like my MSI 3090. I can see through to the memory modules. And so I was like, okay, well, I know they're seating correctly, but here on this one, I can't. So we're just going to have to trust that it's okay. Okay, I reckon this time feels a bit better than last time. Last time, I got to the, I didn't screw as many times as this time. So, you don't want to overdo it. Just make sure you're at the end. All right, now we're going to put on the HDMI display port cage. I think that's what it's called. So this one I might also have to do off camera as well. It'll be tricky to put this in. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. Just to let you guys know, I'm working on a video right now. I don't usually talk about the videos I work on because they're sometimes, you know, you're working on something and then there's other news that comes along and then you have to scrap that video. But this video that I've been working on for the last couple of days is a ray tracing video. So we're going to look at Cyberpunk 2077 with ray tracing on and ray tracing off. I think it's going to be a pretty cool video. And, you know, it's really interesting, right? Like, previously, NVIDIA is trying to sell us ray tracing. And, okay, you know, it's $699 for the 3080, you know, when he announced it. And, you know, we go, okay, I can do that, like $699. That sounds reasonable. You haven't raised the prices or anything like that. And how devious, like, he probably knew that these were good mining cards. And if they were going to be good mining cards, he didn't have to raise the price anyways. It's unbelievable. He knew putting in the extra memory bandwidth and putting, you know, he'd probably tested it out. He knew that it was going to do 90 mega hash a second. For the 3080, the 3090 was going to do 120. And then obviously he didn't know that Bitcoin, or maybe he did, but like maybe he didn't expect Bitcoin to like double, triple in price like it has. But even if it was like 20 or 30,000 for Bitcoin, the prices of the GPUs, they wouldn't have stayed at $699. No way. No way it would have been $699. So I think he was pretty, you know, I wouldn't say Jensen is shifty, okay? I would say he's crafty, because, you know, he's always one step ahead of me. That's why he's the CEO and I'm not the CEO. That's why he's always been the head of, oh my goodness, this isn't going in. That's why he's always been the head of NVIDIA. Sorry, the cage is not going in, so I'm going to have to adjust it a little bit. But yeah, Sleeping Elephant. Cyberpunk is badass for ray tracing. Yep. Other than that, don't care for ray tracing. Well, Sleeping Elephant, please check out my video probably tomorrow, I would say. I probably won't be working on it today. After this, gonna just do something with the kids. But make sure to check out the video when it drops. I think it's interesting, okay? I know everybody's probably seen the Digital Foundry version anyway. I have as well. Although that was, you know, like 2 or 3 months ago, so I don't really remember everything that happened in that video. But I think it's interesting because, you know, when you do the side-by-side comparison, there's nothing analytical that I've done. I mean, I'm kind of just doing a spot the difference test, basically. and you know, when you turn the ray tracing on and off, what do you see? Well, I hope you guys let me know what you think, like, of the differences between the two, the ray tracing on and ray tracing off. Because honestly, I think like it's a cool tech, but I don't think there's enough of a difference right now anyway, that, you know, when you turn ray tracing on, it suddenly makes everything look unbelievable and realistic. It's not like you're going to get photorealistic graphics when you turn ray tracing on, because we're not really at that stage yet. But it's almost as if the marketing for these GPUs and ray tracing is like, you need ray tracing. Like, if you don't have ray tracing, then you're not next gen. And the thing is, the ray tracing is literally, I mean, sometimes you can't even tell the difference. So it's like, what's the point of spending all that money on it? Like, just get the best value GPU. And with AMD right now, you know, I'm not shilling for AMD, okay? I'm not a fanboy of anything. I do have more NVIDIA cards than AMD cards, but it's like, okay, there are 5 games out for ray tracing right now, and crap. There are, and it's like Cyberpunk, Control, Fortnite, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Battlefield 4. I can't really think of any other. Wolfenstein. So I really don't know how many ray tracing games there are. There's a list on Wikipedia, but it's like 20, 30 games coming soon. So it's not like every game has ray tracing, and then even the support in the games, like we're gonna go through the game. So I'm gonna do the Cyberpunk one. If that does well, we'll go and do we'll do Control as well, and look at the ray tracing inside, see if we can see differences. All right, we're almost there. Okay, we're almost at the testing stage. I'm excited. I want to get this to work. If it doesn't work, I'm just gonna lose it. Vincent says, NVIDIA support for Miner for reason they accidentally released 470.05 that opened full potential mining for 3060, but you realize the next two driver 465.89 and 466.11 way long before the 470.05. Yeah, I mean, what was the driver for what was the previous driver for developers? Like, I don't remember what it was. Was it like 465 as you say it was? Because the 470.05 was just released for developers. So do they have different numbers for their drivers, or is it all the same? So I don't think they I don't think they released, or they're going to release, mining capabilities like further down the track. Like they're not going to reopen RTX 3060, if that's what you're saying. Because I think it was just one of those things where they probably have a lot of drivers that they're working on. And so this was obviously just a half-finished driver. But you know, with half-finished drivers, you're basically taking the old one and then adding new stuff on top. So underneath the 470.05, you had a working 465.89 or whatever the last one was. So I think that's how it works. Well, this isn't screwing down. This isn't screwing down either. Have I got the screws around the wrong way? Okay, good. Okay, that one works over there. Okay, this one works here. So, you know, if I was applying to be a bomb disposable expert, you're probably going to finish last. Did I break it? Yeah, I kind of did. Sort of, not really. I didn't have the right pads, so I put in 0.5 pads, and I think the right pads that I need is 1, and if it's not that, then something else is wrong. So hopefully these 1mm pads work. But I put in 0.5 mil because that's all I had at the time, and it didn't work. It basically, the temperatures just, you know, steadily rose. All right, we're good. We're going to test this now. Let's see what happens. I don't know. I'm excited about this. I've been waiting 3 days for this because I figured, well, I need to wait for the pads anyways. So, okay, maybe I'll just do it in the live stream. But with the live stream, it's like, okay, well, what if you can't fix it in the live stream? Well, I don't know. I guess you guys all gonna have to deal with a bad ending instead of a good ending. So it will be what it is. That's the amazing thing about live stuff, right? Like, you just don't know what's gonna happen. The mystery and the suspense. Okay, to shut down my I brought another computer here just so I could test this. How are we going? We're 1.5 hours into the stream, and we finally, it took 1.5 hours to put that card back together. That's way too long, and no one's gonna watch this again, but it was fun to do anyways. And have a bit of company while I do it. Okay, shut down. And I will probably have to disappear under the desk for about 5 minutes while I put this card in. So you're gonna have to have fire extinguisher nearby. If it gets to that stage, I'm in trouble. So I'm going to put this onto the other screen. Whoops. Are you getting dizzy yet? Okay. I'm gonna do something. I have to make this cable longer. Oh, bitch. My HDMI cable's not long enough. Okay. Okay, well, we'll just have to deal with this and do the zoom thing. There we go. All right, well, that's probably the best I can do for you guys. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna put this 3080 into the computer. I'm gonna take my 3060 out. I'm sorry you guys have nothing to look at while I do this. But I'll do this as quick as I can. Okay. This is my 3060. And another palette. And by the way, this 3060 is so shitty. Like, this cost me $1,000, and look at the plastic shroud on this thing. Like, just complete McDonald's quality plastic. This is what you would get in a Happy Meal for $1,000. What a joke. And like, this is so much better. This is the 3080, and it's solid, and the plastic feels okay. And there's a bit of metal on this, so if it feels good, right? Like, it feels like it's a good quality card. And then this 3060 does not. I mean, they all work, right? So who cares? But I'm just saying, like, they barely spent any money on the external part of the GPU. And it's not like they didn't have money either, you know? They had money. These cards cost $1,000. That money's going somewhere. Somebody's getting rich. Oh my goodness. I'm literally just going to do one screw just to make sure that it's secure. So I don't want to waste too much more time. I'm hoping 650 is enough for the 3080, it should be once you underclock it. And we will get a temperature reading on the memory modules. Okay, and then if it doesn't work, I guess I'm trying with 1.5 mil after this. So this is going to be an extra long stream. Okay. Okay. And I've turned the computer on. I don't know what's happened with the monitor. Okay, here we go. This is my i5 4690K. This PC I've had for about 5 years. And when I first started making YouTube videos, this was the PC that I was using. Whoops, easy. I'm sorry, you're going to have to be on the side a little bit for this. Maybe do that. Whoops. I'm sorry, it's very ad hoc. It is what it is. Whoops, shit. I don't know what happened. Okay. Oh, it was just there. Green screen, please. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yikes. Better stop that first. Boom, double stack 0.5 to make 1. Yeah, I don't know if that double stacking is a good idea. I mean, if you have nothing else, yeah, for sure, yeah, go right ahead. But if you can buy, instead of having 2.5s, buy a 1 mil, then I think people should just go and do that. I wouldn't recommend sticking 0.5. You have a surface there that you've created with that 0.5. Okay, HW info. Whoops. Okay, GPU temp is 40 degrees, GPU memory junction temperature 44. So that's already looking a lot better than it was last time because, well, last time it was about 40 and then I think it was like 50 degrees, so there was a bit of a gap there. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in a bit. So you can see there the GPU memory junction temperature 44. We're going to do a benchmark for this. And you know, if MSI afterburner, actually, I should stop that. So I've only got 650 watts in here. So normally with a 3080, you probably want to have 750. So I think I better underclock this first, just in case. I don't want my house to blow up. Okay. The other thing is, if MSI is not loading your card, it's because it boots it at startup and then it hasn't read the card then. So just get out of it, quit out of it, and then come back in again. All right, we're going to just quickly underclock this thing. So Control F to get the voltage, and then we're going to drag this down to like that. And then I guess what you want to do is make whatever voltage that you want to underclock to. So we're going to underclock to 1700 first. I think you can underclock this to 1400, but let's just go 750. All I care about is not using that much temperature. Not that much power. So tick that. And then that's going to make that a straight line. I don't even know if it can do 1700. Maybe I'll lower it. Maybe we'll do 1500. I think it can do 1400. Let's go. Let's see how that goes. Okay, we're going to change the fan curve. We're going to bump that up 80. And then the power limit, put down to 85. The power limit is already down anyways, but this will limit it to 85%. The memory clock will just adjust later. Memory clock. I prefer the classic afterburner skin. Yeah, this is the one I've been using the whole time. So I'm used to this one. Okay, all right. Moment of truth is coming as it benchmarks. So it's yikes, 74 degrees. Is that right? Maybe that's not right. I think that's too hot. I think the GPU temperature is too hot. The GPU memory junction temperature is fine. The GPU temperature is not right. It's too hot. So we're going to have to take this out. Well, the GPU temps are coming down. Yeah, I think something is wrong. Normally this would be 50 degrees, so we're going to have to do it again. Vincent, yeah, I am using Hive OS. I'm using Hive OS on my mining rig. Okay, I think we're going to stop it there because the GPU temp is too high. Yep, I'm going to do the thermal paste again. It's dropping because I just paused the mining. Okay, we're going to do it once more just to double check and confirm. Okay, so, damn it. So that's okay because we fixed the memory modules. Now we have to go back and fix the GPU core. And I know the GPU core was fine when I put in the 0.5 pads. We need to fix the GPU core now. Okay. Let's just run it again just to confirm the memory the temperatures. Yep, it's 72 degrees, it's too hot. So it looks like we're gonna have to do this again. And that's the beauty of doing things yourself. You have to troubleshoot literally everything. It's super annoying, actually. But I don't know. I guess maybe I'll put a bit more. The contact is not good. I'm gonna have to screw down tighter and also to put a bit more thermal paste, I think. Right, well, more work, I guess. Too much thermal paste maybe, not bad, but that is a bit hot. Yeah, I feel like it wasn't that much thermal paste because I was pretty tight on how much I used. So if I didn't use any, then that would be a problem. But now I feel like the heatsink is touching the thermal pads and not touching the GPU core. Richard, just throw it in the garbage and call it a day. Maybe the 3060, because it's such a terrible card. But the 3080, I'll give it one more shot before I throw it in the garbage. All right, we're going to turn this off. So that was kind of disappointing. So I'm not going anywhere. We're continuing the stream. We're going to change the thermal paste again. So for people who want to stay, that's great. For people who've seen enough, well, that's okay. I'll see you guys another time, but don't go anywhere. I'm going to take this card back and we're going to give it another shot. Okay. Let's go. And I think there'll be less talking this time because let's just fix this card. It's always the case, like the first time through you think nothing's going to go wrong. And I feel like the desk that I got here is literally blown up by a landmine or something. It's just super messy. So are you adding more thermal paste? Let's see the contact first and then we'll decide then. But I don't get it. I mean, I feel like I did do more turns for these 4 screws here for the GPU bracket. So more than last time when I had 0.5 mil pads. Because when I used those, it was really quick to get to the end. Maybe that had something to do with it. Look at this. This screw is not even in correctly. Jesus. Well, sleeping elephant, I might have to do both, but the first one I'm going to try is I'll put a little bit more thermal paste because I feel like there's a gap there. So if there's a gap, then we're going to have to cover that gap with something. And it's not great to cover the gap with thermal paste because, you know, you really need to get that GPU core, you need to get that heatsink right down onto that GPU core. So really, I think it's more a case of screwing it down tighter. Maybe I didn't screw it down tight enough. But even still, I feel like, you know, I was right there. Crap. Yeah, sleeping elephant, the thermal junction looked good at least, so I'm happy about that. We can get this card fixed because last time the thermal junction was not good and the GPU core was fine. So now we just have to get both correct. And actually that's one problem with if you want to, for these companies, I don't know, maybe they're watching later on, is if you're designing your card, you got to design it for the thermal pads that are out on the market. Like if we're going to change it, don't use 0.7 mil thermal pads, don't use things like that. Use standard pads, 1 mil, 0.5 mil, because if you use a 0.75 and I put a 1 and now my card is having problems with the GPU core temp, then there's a bad design. Okay, we're going as fast as I can because this is the second time. No time to play around now, folks. So we know these pads are okay, so that's good. So, oh. And maybe the seating of this GPU core wasn't even in right, because like this is not even in the center of the, this is not even in the center of the circle. Like maybe that's off. You know, I don't know if you can see that, but it's not centered. This one is not centered either. So we're going to have to put that on properly. If it's not centered, then maybe it's not sitting properly. I'm going to replace the thermal paste again, do it again. But I feel a little bit better than last time. The memory temperatures are okay this time. So the card is partly saved. I've been worried about it for 3 days. And maybe people are thinking, well, it's just a GPU. Yes, it is, but they're not $300 anymore. They're $1,500. And no, this one now is like $2,500, which is truly insane. And I don't have $2,500 to go get another one. Like just like that. I mean, sure, yeah, I've got $2,500 in my bank account, but okay. I mean, well, this one wasn't that in, which And I think if you don't get them all in, then there are a few turns left on some. Okay, so would these companies take back your card if it went bad? I heard Gigabyte is the worst. This does kind of void the warranty, right? Yeah, I've heard both things. Like, I've heard some companies will take the card back. I've heard some companies, once you take off that sticker, that void warranty sticker, which is like right here. Oh shit, I broke it. Ah, damn it. Broke that warranty sticker. Once you take that off, then they're not going to take your card back. But, you know, even still, they're going to help you fix it. So, yeah, maybe you have to pay them like a couple of $100 to fix the card. I think they will help you fix it. Like, you send it back and they charge you something for fixing it. And right now it's worth it because the card is $2,500. Their maintenance for the card previously might have cost you $200-300 for a $700 card, and you'd be like, oh yeah, that's too expensive. But now when it's $300 to fix it and the card costs $2,500, well, I think then it's not too bad. Like, I don't think it's too bad to, you know, if you completely break the card, you don't know what to do, you send it back to them, they give you a bill of like $200-300. I would take that over buying a new card. Okay, I'm going to take this off again. Think you can pay to upgrade? Well, all right, so we're going to have a look at the contact here. And once again, we've got to be careful with this cable. Damn it. Okay, look at this. Look at the contact here. And it's only contacting in very few spots, which means that we didn't, these memory modules are too thick. It's either too thick and we need to screw it down more, and there's nothing I can really do because it's either 0.5 mil pads or 1 mil pads. I don't have anything in between that. So we're going to have to just go again, screw it down a bit tighter, see if we can get some there's no contact on the GPU core. So that's why I said we should just check it first and see if there's any contact. Yeah, I'm a bit worried now because it's either 0.5 mil or 1 mil. We're going to have to screw it down tighter, I think. We've got a bit of room, I think, to play with because these, it's not contact yet, so we can screw it down a bit more. Okay, let's go and do that. That's kind of disappointing, honestly. Now I'm a bit worried because do I run with 0.5 mil or do I run with 1 mil? Washers on the back for a tighter seat. I don't have washers though. But even then, I don't think that would get me tighter because I would lose some of the thread. So you only have that much thread. Can you see? Like, it's not the full screw, it's only a tiny bit of the screw. So you'd only have a little bit. If you use a washer, you'd lose more of the thread, I think. But yeah, I see what you're saying. and we will put a bit more thermal paste on. But again, it's not really good idea to rely on thermal paste for your contact. You want metal on metal, so it's not, but if we put a bit more thermal paste, maybe it will spread out a bit better than what we just had. Maybe we didn't have enough. Bro, try to push pressure on the pad. Yep, I'm gonna do that. Like, make it thinner by pressure. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because although I don't want to, like, I don't want to make it dirty. I don't want to make these pads dirty. I don't know if that will do anything. But right now, that's probably going to be better than if I just left it. It's so annoying, right? Like, you have so many different thickness of pads that they have to get right and all on the same level. I don't know, maybe they could have thought about that in the design. All right, thermal paste. I think that is clean enough. I think that's more than what I put last time. Use the whole tube. No. I've almost used the whole damn tube already just by opening and I've opened the card at least this is my 4th time opening the card. So I think I'm going to need that thermal paste, just in case I have to open it like another 4 more times. All right. MX5 is out now. Yes, it is. And I couldn't get it, but MX4 is fine because there's not that much difference anyway. Okay, again, I'm going to have to do some of this off camera. Oh, bitch. What was that? Yeah, I have no idea what that was. I'm having problems putting that. Ah, this is so annoying. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, shit. Okay, I think I got it this time. I got all my fingers working for me now. Oh, crap. Oops. Okay, we've got to line up with these holes. So I think that was important. Getting the screw holes exactly where they're supposed to be. Okay. We're going to go really tighten this time. Okay, it looks like all the other screw holes are in more or less in line. Come on. Okay, I'm making sure that they're all at the end, because I think they weren't all at the end last time. I heard some people say you can crack your GPU, so we don't want to do overkill. Okay, but oh boy, I hope this works. Okay, this one. Hey. Okay, back to the chat. So, or the last chance is you use thinner pad than you need, then overlay it by thermal paste. Yeah, that sounds like, I don't know, is a good suggestion. Just, I think I'd rather just get the right pads. So, I don't know how I would get like 0.7 mil pads. That's what I would have to look for. Like, who has set 0.7 mil pads? Yeah, this is hard. And they're not magnetic either. I'm just gonna have to put this on its end. Uh, Gamers Nexus recommended it for AM overheating. AMD. I used it to improve my old GTX 660 for my max attack overclock after unlocking the higher TDP bars mod. The MX5. Oh. Oh, you mean the washers? Maybe I could get it, but right now I just want to get the right thermal pads. I think that's the problem. And I'm sorry you can't see anything right now. I'll make this as quick as I can. Okay. That sound was the ants walking over. Don't scare me, man. They're taking over. Don't scare me. They were a nuisance last week. Literally like 50 ants on my desk. So I had to stop the stream basically. But there was no one watching at the time anyway. It was too late. And honestly, it's a better idea to keep the streams a little bit shorter, like say an hour and a half, because it's easier to watch back. Like people will click on a 1.5 hour stream. I don't know if they're going to click on a 3-hour stream, unless you're like BuildZoid or something, and then everyone's just watches BuildZoid's videos because it's BuildZoid. I think that was the wrong screw. Eight-pin installations in the dark are a pain. What's that? The washers you are plastic as it sits on the main board and is very easy to install. Sleeping elephant, is that what the pads? This unbelievable. Some of these screws are not working. Oh my goodness. Okay, looks like able to screw this. Okay, here we go. We're getting there. Golden Hormadillo. The wash extends the thread, hands tight. Okay, well, if it extends the thread, then yes, that would work. Maybe I got it backwards when I was thinking about it. But we'll see. Like, the good news is the GPU core is good. The memory modules are good. This card still works. Hopefully. So it's a matter of getting things balanced. Now you got me into like, now I'm gonna have to check out this Ants Canada guy. 2 screws left. Okay, we're so close. Okay, if it doesn't work, I'm going to check a fit. And I don't think I'm going to go with the 1.5 mil pads because I don't think that's the problem now. The problem is obviously getting the balance between 0.5 and 1 mil. And I don't know how. We're going to have to see how this one turns out first. Okay, come on. Okay, this is good. It's good. Let's go a bit more. I think it's important to screw all the other screws down as well. Maybe if everything is tighter, then be a bit more compressed, I guess. Okay, please, please. Please. All right. I'll be back in 5 minutes while I put this into my other PC. All right, we're back. Okay. Gonna take a drink. Asking me to run setup. Oops. Oh, better adjust the camera. The fan's going loud isn't a good sign. It's too hot. It's too hot. So the 1mm pads are too much. So now I'm in a bit of trouble. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna have to stop this though. Don't want to make it too hot. And even now, the GPU memory junction temperature is the same temperature as the GPU temperature. I don't know if like squashing that had an effect on the actual, like maybe I destroyed the pad in some way. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess I'll keep going with this. Maybe I'll put 2.5mm pads on. Do the thing I told you. The thermal paste. Maybe I'll go with 2.5mm pads first. Unbelievable. Palit the idiots. Now I'm just hot and bothered. Okay, I gotta pull it out again and do it. I don't know how people like do it one time and then it works, because it never happens for me. Oh boy. I can't believe 1mm is too thick. Like, it is barely any different. Okay. Even with the 3090, I did I had to do it 3 times before getting it right. But it was right the first time. It was just that I actually had the aircon off, so then the temps were a lot higher because the ambient was a lot higher. So once I turned the aircon on, everything was fine. I don't have calipers to measure the thickness, which is the real, that would help a lot, but I don't have them here. Or I don't even have any. But like I've got the 0.5 mil pad and I've got the 1 mil pad, and neither of them work. So it's like 0.5 means that the memory temperature is high, and the 1 means the GPU temperature is high. So it's like, well, I need to get 0.75 mil pads now. All right, I'm gonna do a quick search for 0.75 mil pads. Like, do they even exist? Maybe that's their plan all along, to use 0.75 so that people would screw up if they did it at home. There's no way there's going to be 0.75 pads. Three, 1, 2, 1.5, 1.5, 2, 0.5, 0.5, 1, 3. Unbelievable. Well, I've got these are so crappy that they even got holes in them. This thermal pad has holes in them. Oh, look, this place has 0.3 mil thermal pads and 0.8 mil thermal pads. Okay, so I guess I'm going to buy some of those. Well, I guess I'm going to buy some of those. That's amazing. That is amazing. I guess I'm going to buy some 0.8 mil thermal pads. And then we're going to put this away for the time being. And then I'm going to come back and put 0.8 mil thermal pads. I'm going to order these. And then normal and SS. What's SS? Oh, double-sided. What the hell is double-sided? Available in normal form and with 3 mil adhesive backing. SS equals single-sided, DS is double-sided. Adhesive added might reduce general heat transfer rate, but the heat storage capabilities remains. Well, what am I supposed to get? Single or double? I should get normal. I don't want the adhesive. Yep, I don't want the adhesive. Okay. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to get these. So I'm not gonna open the card again. I'm gonna get these 0.8 mil thermal pads. And then we're gonna try again. I might even order some 0.5s. Might order some 3 mils. And then we're gonna have to play around with it again. So that's going to be the thermal pad for the day, and I'm not going to open that up again because that would be a little bit pointless. And then for me to like do doubling up of the 0.5 mil pads, I think that's kind of not worth it based on the evidence that I know already. With 0.5, I get really high memory temperatures, but the GPU core is fine. So what I will do is, I guess I'll update everyone in the community page what happens with this, because there probably isn't time for me to do another live stream like this. I guess I could do it the next Thursday, but I mean, if the pads come early, I don't want to wait a week to do it. And that would be Thursday my time, Wednesday your time. So I'm going to go order these, and we're going to leave the thermal pad thing as it is for now. Do you guys have any questions that you want to talk about? Let me know. Otherwise, we'll finish up the stream in the next 5 or 10 minutes. In terms of news and stuff, there really isn't that much news, I think. This week, it was mostly the PSN news. So I'm actually going to take that off the title after this. I'll take down the PSN and EuroLeague stuff, and we'll just leave it as the thermal pad stream. But yeah, let me adjust the camera. Okay.